Okay. Just making sure that everything is working. I'm always super unsure if I'm doing this correctly because of the way I have this set up. Let me see. How do I get into what I'm trying to find? I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like YouTube has become harder to use, like less intuitive with like the YouTube Studio. It seems like it's harder to get into what I'm trying to find. Okay, yes. I am live. Always a miracle. And of course now my cat wants to be in my face. Okay. So just closed that by accident and don't know how to reopen it. Okay. I don't know that it really matters. All right. So, I was feeling a little chatty, so I decided to go live. And I'm always shocked when I realize how long it's been since I've uh, put up a video on this channel. It makes me feel like I haven't been getting any work done around my house. Um, but basically, I've been trying to fine tune all the small detail stuff, which I hate because I am a perfectionist. So it's really hard to do that like last 5 to 10% of a project because it's always like the really meticulous detail things that I obsess over and it takes me forever to do because I'm like never satisfied with it. So, it's been taking me a while to do those things. Um, the main one that I've been trying to push through to finish is the living room because I I think it was no last year? No, I think 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, that I bought my sectional sofa. That like hurts my brain to think about, but I think that was, yeah. I don't want to think about that. That actually kind of hurt my head to realize that that was 2 years ago. That doesn't feel right, but I'm pretty sure it is. Um, anyway, ever since um I got the sofa for the living room, um, that was one of the last big things that I wanted to do in here. And since then, I've been trying to figure out the small detail stuff of like getting everything to look the way I want it. A big thing for that was figuring out like the wall decor because a lot of stuff it was kind of like when I moved in, I just kind of hung things up where I thought it would look good. And then as I've been finalizing all the furniture, now I'm trying to finalize all the decor elements. So I had a whole thing um, a couple months ago now where I basically collected all of the frames and artwork that I had and really like sat down and tried to figure out like how to best utilize everything that I already owned, and then figuring out what I needed to then buy, like what was missing, um, which I'm pretty happy finally. I'm like I have made so many holes in my walls from moving things around, like hanging it and then moving it somewhere else, or I hang it and I think it's in the right spot, and then once it's in the on the wall, I realize it doesn't look right. Because there's a lot of elements in my house because of all of the doorways and the windows and the trim around the doors, and like I have really high baseboards and all of that, that sometimes it's really hard to know where to hang things, because like if you center it on the wall, it doesn't actually look centered, and so it's sometimes hard to know how to space things out that it's actually going to look the best. And I'll measure everything out and think of all of this and be like, okay, I think this is going to look best, and then I get it on the wall and I realize I hate it, and then I have to move it like three more times before I finally figure out what actually looks the best. Um, and then I'm left with all these holes that I have to patch, and I fucking hate patching holes. It it's just it's one of the perfectionist things where I patch it and it never looks good enough, and I just keep going back and redoing it over and over and over, trying to get it to look perfect, and it's never gonna look perfect. So I hate that, and I'm so glad that I'm like finally like at a point where I'm happy with where things are and I don't have to move anything else and make any more holes. I just need to patch the holes that were already there. But yes, so that was a big headache for me of trying to figure that out. But I got all that in place and have been sitting with it for over a month now, and like I'm happy with where things are. I think everything's going to stay now where it is. And like I said, I was able to utilize all of the frames that I already had, which was a huge like goal for me with the house, was to I don't want to have like things stored away not being used, because like what's the point of having it if I'm not going to use it? So ever since I moved in um over 5 years ago now, it's been my goal to like use up all of this stuff that I have, and anything that I can't find a use for to get rid of. So like I said, that was when I gathered up. I'm like, okay, these are all of the picture frames and poster frames that I have. I want to try and use all of them in the house somewhere and like figure that out and make use out of everything that I had. And then I was able to do that, and I only ended up getting one more set of poster frames because I wanted something to go on the wall over there, and I didn't have anything already that was a good size for what I wanted over there. Um, but I was able to find frames on Marketplace that were $1 a piece, which was awesome. So I like drove like 20 minutes to get these poster frames, a set of five for $5. Um, that was like an awesome deal, because if I had bought the frames like new, they would have been more than $5 a piece, and I got five of them for $5. So it was worth the drive to get these, and then I got it was actually a calendar off of eBay that like each month was like, how calendars typically have like a picture and then the calendar below it. The calendar I bought was like a Star Trek um, calendar, and the picture in each month you could actually like tear out, and it was a poster. So I found that, and the artwork matched um, the same artwork that I have in my other poster set. So I found those and put those in the frames that I got off Marketplace. So that all worked out nicely. And that was like the only thing that I bought after like going through all my frames, and like it was a whole thing. Like I had all the frames and I was like, okay, if I put this in this frame and this in this frame, and I can cut this poster down to fit into this frame, and da 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 da. After all that was said and done, that was the only thing I needed to buy where I didn't have anything to hang in that particular corner where I wanted something to be hung. So, yes, figured that out. I still have to hang a couple things in the kitchen after swapping all the frames around and stuff. Um, which I have a huge collage wall in my kitchen. Once again, there are so many holes in that wall because even though I measured everything out and did all the prep, once it was on the wall, I hated it and I had to keep moving the stuff around multiple times. Finally figured it out, but I still, after I swapped a frame around, so now I have something else that needs to be hung there. I have thought that collage was done on, I think, 4 different occasions, and every time I think I finally figured it out, I would change my mind about something. So yeah, that was a fun thing. So it's still not actually done because now I have 2 things that need to be hung up. Anyway, that every time I walk out into my kitchen and see it, I'm like annoyed with myself because I still haven't hung them up. But the living room I figured out, and I'm pretty happy with it because there were some things that um it was kind of like a nagging issue. Like I had my clock over there on that wall, and that's just where I hung the clock back when I first moved into the house, and that was where it had always hung. But then I swapped the clock out with one that I liked more, and I really do like the clock, but it was actually like hard to see on the wall because like the way the light would hit it, it would actually like make it hard to read it. It's kind of hard to explain, but it would like reflect in a really weird way where it was actually hard to see where the hands were on the clock when I was sitting on the couch. It was a very like bizarre issue that I couldn't have accounted for until I hung it up there and realized. So that was something that had kind of nagged me with the fact that sometimes when I was sitting here and I look up at the clock, it was actually kind of hard to read the clock. Um, so when I was moving everything around, I realized that I actually figured out a better place to hang the clock, that I don't have that issue anymore and it looks really good, and it solved a other issue that I also had with like things not looking good on this wall over here because of how it was spaced out. So, yeah, uh, killed 2 birds with 1 stone on that one. So anyway, all that to be said, um, doing all these tiny little detail things, which is why like I haven't done any videos because every time I think about doing a video, like I've recorded a video about the living room, I've recorded one about the dining room. Um, I think I recorded another one too. I don't even remember what it was about. But every time I record a video, because I'm like, oh, I'm basically done with this room, I'll record an updated video about the things that I've done. Then I'll do something else, and I'm like, well, I might as well re record that video because now I've changed a couple things. And I think I'm just to the point that I just have to wait until the room is fully done before I record a new video because yeah, I recorded, I thought I was basically done with the dining room and recorded a video, and not even a week later, I made a huge change with the dining room. So now that video is already out of date. I did the same thing with the living room, recorded a video because I thought I was basically done with the living room, and then I made all these little changes with all the wall art, and I got a chair over there, and I like, yeah. So, haven't been doing any videos because it's just all these little itty bitty changes that I'm making over a really long span of time. So it's not really something I can do videos on. Um, which kind of sucks because I do enjoy making videos, which is why like I went live because I've kind of been itching to like make a video, but I don't have anything to make a video about. Um, but yeah, sometimes I like to voice my ideas. Um, so yeah, um, super close to having the living room done, and then the dining room. Obviously, I want to do the huge built-in, but like the rest of the room, I think is actually done now. Um, so that's awesome. I think the last big thing, which I've been like trying to gear myself up to do this soon because I've been putting it off for like 2 years now, and I really just want to get it done, but I also don't want to do it, is to paint. Um, Back when I first moved in, I did a fresh coat of primer downstairs, but I never actually painted. So I also only did one coat of primer. So the primer has now, after 4 years, it's faded in some spots, it's streaky in some spots. So I really need to do a fresh coat of paint, actual paint. And I bought the paint 2 years ago because I intended to do it 2 years ago and never did. Because I hated doing the painting the first time I did it. I really wish that I had just painted everything before moving in, but that wasn't realistic at the time, especially back then. I don't think I would have even known what color I would have wanted to paint because I didn't have a good idea of like how I wanted everything to look really. So, yeah, it wasn't really realistic, even though it would have been ideal to paint when the house was empty. But yeah, I've been putting off the painting, and like I said, I've been putting it off so long now at this point that it's almost like circled back around to, oh my God, I just want to get it done because this has been in the back of my mind for 2 years and I want to not think about it anymore. So I've been trying to find the motivation to do that, but painting a room is like, it's such a big task because you have to like, move furniture and take everything off. Especially for me, I have so much stuff hung on my walls, so I have to take everything like hung on the walls. I have to take everything down, move furniture. Um, I need to paint my ceilings as well as the walls, and that's an even bigger pain because you have to worry about um like splashback of, you're painting the ceiling of it falling down on stuff. Um, so that's super annoying. So even though I really don't want to paint, I really want to get it done. So very conflicting. Um, but like I said, I already have the paint. I bought a 5-gallon bucket of paint 2 years ago to do the whole downstairs, because I'm doing the whole downstairs in the same like warm toned white, and I just never did it. So I don't know. I'm hoping I can get it done this year, but God, I do not want to do the painting. I know I always underestimate the prep because like it takes so long to get everything prepped, and then like comparatively, like the painting is the easy part. It's having to get everything prepped, and then the painting is relatively easy, but then you have the cleanup is just as bad as the prep process. So, yeah, I don't know. I've been thinking about it the past couple days, because I finally have nice weather where I live, so I would be able to like open up the windows to air everything out. But that's a big ask. I don't know. I also keep debating about whether I should do the dining room or the living room first, because the living room is going to be harder. I have way more prep to do for the living room because of all the stuff that I have hung up will have to come down. Um, so like the dining room would be an easier room to do comparatively, but uh yeah, I don't know. So yeah, that's a really big thing left to do is all the painting. I was super burned out on painting. Um, like after moving in, doing all the painting when I moved in, I never wanted to paint another room again for the rest of my life. Um, so I really had to take a very long cool off period from painting because I was like really really sick of it. Um, but it's been a couple years now. I did paint my bedrooms a year ago, I think. But comparatively, the bedrooms are smaller and have lower ceilings, so they're a lot easier to paint compared to the downstairs rooms. But yeah, that was even the bedrooms, I still have some details around the trim that I never finished because I got burnt out on it before I uh could do those small details. Like I said, I hate the like last 5% detail work of anything is a nightmare. So, yeah, that's kind of what's been going on with all of that. Um I do have some stuff with my yard that I was working on. Um, I haven't done any videos about that. I did, I think, just the one video about the yard stuff that I was doing. But I've done more stuff since then. I should really do like a part two for my yard of the other things that I've done. Because, like, I made a patio area and I got a picnic table off of Marketplace, and I started it last summer and didn't quite finish it, making this little like flower bed area. And then I got a bird bath that I want to get set up with basically the end goal being trying to deal with the mosquitoes at my house because they're really bad, like really, really, really bad. So, I'm trying to be proactive with um, creating areas to um, put plants that repel mosquitoes and attract dragonflies, which is what the bird bath is for because dragonflies like still water. So that's why I have the bird bath as well. And then I want to, around the bird bath, plant the flowers that attract dragonflies. And then the flower bed that I'm building is to plant the mosquito repelling um, plants. So that's all stuff that I would like to get done this summer because I got pretty far with it last summer and just didn't quite finish the last bit of it before it started to get cold. So I'd like to do that. It's one of the last main things that I want to do with my yard. Um, that and I've been on the lookout on Marketplace for some pavers to make a walkway area to my car because currently it's just um, I walk through the grass. I wanted to put some pavers down, especially like when it rains and snows. It'll be nice to have pavers in that area rather than just grass because it does get muddy sometimes if it's wet enough. So I've been watching Marketplace for that. I did find one person selling pavers that I like, but it's a bit of a far drive and I'd have to see if they're willing to sell me like a smaller quantity because it's for like a huge lot and I don't need the whole lot. I only need about half of them. So I haven't messaged them yet. Probably by the time um, I finally decide to message them, they'll already be sold because that's happened to me more than once where I find something I like and I wait too long and then they get sold in the meantime. But I am trying to get them off of Marketplace to save money because pavers can be expensive, um, especially when you need a lot of them. Because if I buy them new, it's going to cost about $150 for how many of them that I need. Whereas if I can get them on Marketplace, I'm hoping to be able to pay at least half that amount. So I try and source stuff off Marketplace as often as I can um, to save money, but also to repurpose um, things. It's like a good form of recycling to repurpose existing products that people have already purchased. So I do try to get stuff off of there as often as I can, um, especially for stuff like that where um, I can, get it off Marketplace. Uh, Last year, when I did my patio area, I had to buy the pavers new because I had to get stuff that matched pavers that I already had. So, like, unfortunately, I couldn't source secondhand because I had to get a very specific sized paver to match the ones that I already had. So that sucked because I really wanted to do secondhand for that as well, but that was not an option in that case. Um, so, yeah, as always, a lot of projects that I want to get done. Um, which is why I get stuck in a limbo of like not really getting anything done because if I have too many things to do, then I do nothing. So, yeah, that's why I've been getting things done at a much slower pace. Um, I'm also still in the process of working on updating electrical. I started that last summer as well, um, and got a decent amount done. But I still have a decent amount left to do. But yeah, I mean, I replaced like almost all of the electrical for the living room. I have like one more outlet that's like in a tricky corner um, that I need to replace that run of wire. And then the only thing left will be the run of wire that actually goes to the breaker box. But then, like, the living room's done. Um, the kitchen is going to be a bit more of a tedious process. I have to get um, wire for that still. I don't have the right wire to do the kitchen, but yeah, the kitchen's probably going to be the hardest. The dining room doesn't have very many outlets in the dining room. It's just once again kind of in a trickier um, spot of the basement, which is why I haven't done it yet. Because it's just harder to get to uh, that section of the basement. It's where my furnace and stuff is, so there's a lot more to have to work around to get back in that corner where all that stuff is. Um, but yeah, I I replaced the wiring for the living room and the main part of the basement, which was awesome. So I've been also been thinking recently that I've kind of actually been itching to work more on the wiring because it is satisfying to rip out the old wire. Um, it's just nice to like rip it out and be like, yeah, in the trash. Like I did, it's satisfying to be able to throw it away because it's old and falling apart, and it's nice to be able to rip it out and toss it in the trash and replace it with uh new stuff. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Um, Also been thinking recently of if I wanted to do more gaming streams. It's been so long since I was doing um the streams for Resi 4. Since then, I have played all of the Resi 4 remake, which was super fun. I got really obsessed with it. I did a video about achievement hunting. Um, that was like my life for 2 or 3 weeks. I was doing nothing but play that game. Um, and lately, I keep thinking I kind of want to get back into playing the Resi 4 remake. Um, but I haven't played it since then. Uh, but after uh, yeah, Resi 9 came out. I was like, wait, was it 9? Yeah. Resi 9 came out and I watched a bunch of playthroughs of that, so that kind of like made me want to go back and play 4. Um, I'm always a couple years behind on playing the Resident Evil games because I always buy them like when they're on sale and then end up waiting a while to play them. Like I still haven't played Village, which I don't have a good reason. I just still haven't played it. I did like 7. I finally played that. 7 was fun. I enjoyed it a lot while I was playing it, but then like I tried to replay it and I got annoyed with like the opening sequence goes on for such a long time before you like actually get into the game and I like gave up on it before I could even like get past that whole opening section. So yeah, anyway, I think that's about it. A lot of rambling. I always ramble for a really long time when I do these lives. But yeah. Um, no, I think that's it. So I'm hoping this summer to, keep moving forward and making some progress with all these little projects that I have going on around the house. I have found that I just really don't get anything done during the winter. It's just too cold and I don't want to do anything and I'm tired all the time. So I've been enjoying that, finally getting some nicer weather and some sun, and yeah, I'm not just wanting to lay around and sleep all day, which is awesome. I had a couple good productivity days in the last like 2 or 3 weeks. So that's a relief getting out of that winter funk. So yeah, if I get motivated enough to, hi Momo, if I get motivated enough to get some of those final detail things done with the living room and the dining room, then I can finally make updated room tours of those rooms. Um, the kitchen, I haven't made any progress at all with the kitchen in the last, I I don't know if that was 2 or 3 years ago that I was doing the kitchen. Time is meaningless. Every time I try and remember when something happened, I it's like, was that a week ago, a month ago, a year ago? I have no idea. I honestly, I don't know anymore when things happened. My frame of reference is non-existent of when things took place. So, yeah, I don't remember what year it was that I was working on the kitchen. It feels like forever ago. I'm pretty sure it was at least 2 years ago, maybe three. Um, and yeah, I have not moved forward at all with the kitchen. Um, so I still don't have my range microwave put in because I have to run electrical for it first, which I think I'm just gonna end up doing myself because it's easier to just struggle to do it myself than to find someone to come do it for me. So, yeah, I think I'll probably just end up doing that on my own. Finally get the microwave put in. I still have some that last, 5 to 10% detail stuff with painting and little things like that that I just never finished because I got to a point where I was like, it's good enough. I need a break from this. I don't want to work on this anymore. Um, but it's like fully functional. It's really honestly just the like cosmetic stuff that I didn't really finish, but it functions so much better now than it did before. With, I added a bunch of cabinets. Swapped that closet into a pantry. And yeah, it's all of that was really just a journey to make the kitchen more functional because it um, really lacked function beforehand, and it's so much better now. So that has honestly been awesome. It was worth the headache of, doing the stuff in that room to, yeah, make it function a million times better than it did when I moved in, which is awesome. That was my goal, was that I wanted to make it a better functioning kitchen, and it is now. So that's awesome. So yeah, always fun to sit down and verbalize the million and one projects that I want to do, um, and make myself feel overwhelmed so that I don't end up working on anything because I have too much to do. Um, it's always great. It's, when you have too long of a to-do list, it's too hard to decide which one of the things you actually want to do, so you just don't do anything. So it's like probably decision paralysis, I guess. Like a form of that. But yeah, because like I said, I have all these projects. I've been trying to just chip away and do like one small thing at a time, um, to make it feel a bit more manageable. Uh, and that's basically what I've been doing for, almost the last 2 years now, is to just slowly chip away. And then, the list slowly but surely gets shorter, and then it, starts to feel more manageable, and I, you know, feel like the finish line is actually achievable, which is where I've gotten to with the living room. I've just chipped away at it, little by little by little, and now I can actually see the finish line. Like, I'm so close. Whereas before it felt so far away. But now it's like I can actually see it. It's still far off in the distance, but it's visible. So yeah, slowly but surely. I mean, I gave myself the goal to try and like get these renovations finished by 2030. Seems arbitrary. Basically, that's the 10-year mark for living in my house, and also the 100-year mark for when my house was built, because my house was built in 1930. So I was like 2030. That'll give me 10 years, and then it's like the anniversary, my house's birthday. So that was like the time frame I gave myself, and like I still have time to get there. You know, the time's going by faster than I imagined, but it still feels attainable. So yeah, I try to give myself a very reasonable time frame to not feel like I um have like to rush to get these things done, because that's like a bad mindset that I get myself into, that I have like some arbitrary deadline that doesn't exist. So, but I also need a deadline, otherwise I just won't do it at all. So, yeah. Anyway, um slowly but surely reminding myself that I'm doing this because I enjoy it, not because I have to. uh and yeah, my cat is screaming in the distance because she wants her dinner. I also need to eat dinner. So I think that's enough yapping. And yeah, I'm gonna end before I go on another tangent. All right.